Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. As you can tell, things look a little different. Yes, I just moved in with my girlfriend. It's my fourth apartment in 1 year. If you look up through my YouTube channel, it's always like a different backdrop because I moved like 4 times in a span of 1 year since October. Life is kind of crazy. Things just happen like that, but here we are. Still in the Chevy Chase, DC area. You know, super cool. I love it. Today, we'll be talking about why I think Asian parents pressure their children to chase high income jobs at the expense of their own personal joy and happiness. I personally have some experience with it, and I've seen it through my friends and family, and I hope I can give you my 2 cents and perspective on it. Once again, I can be entirely wrong on it. I'm just some fool in my bedroom. Why I think Asian parents pressure us to have high income jobs. I think if you look at the cultural differences of Asia and how they brought it into America. So I read this interesting book. It's by like Christine Chen or something. I can like link it in the comments, but it's like How to Quit Like a Millionaire. She talks about the story and the origins of why education is valued so much in Asian culture. So if you think about it, during the communist regime in China, famine was very apparent. People would starve to death, and pretty much there's only a X amount of spots for people to attend schools. So you had to take this test, and if you achieved the highest score, you would be able to go to school, get an education, get a great job, and not starve. And it was literally a matter of life and death. If you didn't do well in this test, you would not be able to go to school and you would perish because there was no food. It was a famine. So education was always linked to survival in the Asian culture. Education is valued so much because think about it. Education was the traditional way out of poverty. Education was the way out of poverty. It was stereotypically so. And if you look at earlier in America, it was like that too. You go to college, get education, get a high paying job, pay off your debt, and you're in the middle class, working with the upper middle class, and eventually you had some assets. And I feel like that is where it comes from. I feel like Asians value money just due to security. Think of the history of it. If I grew up in Vietnam after the communist regime, the Vietnam War, there's not that much wealth in the country. The country was burned down. It was napalmed. It was destroyed. So there was no value, and money was a way of having security. Once you had money, you had healthcare, you had education, running water, roof over your head, you had food, you had shelter, and money was a number one thing, and we valued it. And that's why Asians are so frugal. We hold money so dear to our heart because it's really a matter of life and death. Because think of the environment that we grew up in. It was a war-torn country. Think about it. Japan, World War II, Korean War, we had the Vietnam War, we had the communist regime rising in China under Mao. And then you think of Hong Kong, like, there was just war-stricken countries, and education and money was the only way out. If you didn't have money, you didn't have food, and you died. So think of that mentality. People grew up in very rough areas, very rough life conditions. They didn't grow up in America. Even if they did, like, they were discriminated against. First generation Americans, I think back in like the 90s or 80s when my parents came, man, it was tough. There was not that many Asians, and people didn't know the language. Think about it. My mom came to America with 2 children, not knowing English with a fourth grade education. And my dad like left, so it's just up to her. So she worked as a housekeeper all through her life to provide us school supplies, education, some food, doing her best to support us. Man, it was tough. It was super tough, giving us a roof over our head, and we had to rely on like government assisted housing. And it was just so terrible, guys. But money was the number one thing, because she said once you have money, you didn't have to fight for your survival. So I'll like say, of course, my mom always wanted my brother and I to have high paying jobs, but she realized something. She wanted us to be happy while doing so. I noticed my mom is very liberal compared to other Asian parents. She never forced Van and I, my brother. She never forced to get good grades. She never did. She never punished us. She never grounded us. It was very liberal for Asian parents. My mom's actually super chill, especially coming from Asia. She just made us appreciate where we were in America and said, look, I've worked my butt off, and you have this opportunity that people are willing to die for and have died for. Your cousins don't have this opportunity, and you have this amazing opportunity. I'm working like 80, 90, 100-hour weeks as a housekeeper day in and day out. I know there are days where she missed Christmas, Thanksgiving, my birthday, just to work to afford us these opportunities. I mean, it's very apparent, like, wow, I want to make my mom proud and make sure her efforts don't feel wasted. So my brother and I, they started working really, really hard. My brother got a full ride scholarship, major in biology, an emphasis in pharmacy, and now he's a pharmacy technician working his way up. So it's super cool. And then for myself, like, I majored in psychology, very, very different. Now I'm a management consultant. I took a very unorthodox path, right? I didn't become a doctor. I didn't become a lawyer. I didn't become an engineer. I understand a lot of Asians go in these fields. But I would say my mom realized, I want you to be happy in this life, because she was like, why are you going to work so hard in this life if you're not happy? And that was the number one thing. And she realized, like, look, As long as you have enough to provide for yourself and us, that's totally fine. But she never come at the expense of your happiness because she knew that I would resent her. If my mom forced us to do something that we didn't like, we would resent her. And I would like to say I'm thankful to my older brother because, she grew up more rigid, right? And she was more liberal and loose with me. She forced my brother to major in biology. He never wanted to. He wanted to major in like graphic design. And at the time, my mom, they're traditional. They didn't realize there's any money in drawing, graphic design, logo creation. And everything's digital now. So she forced them to go major in biology and do pharmacy, and he fucking hates it. So now he's making time up, and we've had that discussion. They forgave each other, but it was brutal, right? But I asked my mom this. I was like, hey, why were you so loose with me and not with my brother? And she's just like, it's because of my family. It's her family, and it's just what was expected of her. Just like, honestly, like, if you weren't a doctor, a lawyer, or engineer, what I thought was success should be looked down upon. That's the only way she thought money could be created, right? She didn't realize there's other avenues of income. And I feel like in Asian culture, it's really hard to take a non-traditional job route serious. So think about it. If you're like a rapper, a content creator, I don't know, a videographer, something different, they don't realize that you can be successful in that, or even acting. So they're like, why would you do that? Take these stereotypical paths to success and you will be. I feel like their idea of success is so rigid because I realize, yes, while money does make your life easier and it's an oversimplified yardstick for success, but it's like, if you hate what you do 24/7, are you not gonna resent your parents one day? I feel like success is being able to provide an income for yourself, being happy, being joyful, and just happy and content with life. Guys, think about it. I'm only 24. I've worked my butt off since I was 12, 14 years old, just continually work. I had my first corporate job when I was 17. I know that feeling where you roll up in the parking lot and you're saying, holy fuck, I hate my life. I do not want to go in this fucking 9-to-5 grind that I have no interest in. I'm not saying you have to be passionate in what you do. I think work is fucking work, but you can't hate it. Find something you enjoy and it's tolerable and it provides an income for you to pursue your other hobbies. If you find a job you love, fuck yeah. But if you don't, it has to be bearable. Work is work, guys. Go to work and then go home and that's fine. But you don't have to integrate those two. So I know everyone's trying to find their job that they're passionate about, guys. I don't think that job exists. If it does, let me know. But there's a lot of jobs that provoke my interest and I'm strongly I'm drawn to. I like my projects. I like the complicated problems I like to solve in management consulting. It's kind of fun for me, right? But it's not the best job ever. But that's the number one thing I'm just realizing, guys, is Asian parents forced us to do jobs because they weren't afforded that opportunity and they want that prestige and success to show off. I'm being honest, when you say your son is a doctor, lawyer, engineer, it's sexy within the Asian culture. They're like, damn, Huang, Chang, and the trans, they got this shit locked down. But then they heard about me, this dude's doing psych, what the fuck is he doing? And I was like, yo, screw you guys, it's my life. Fuck you guys, I'll never see you guys again. And look at me, I'm management consulting, I went to Cal Poly, I went to good school, it all worked out, and I have that faith in myself. But guys, you're gonna have to stand up for yourself one day and do what's right. At the end of the day, it's your life. I understand your parents brought you here and you're very grateful and you be thankful to them, blessed by it. But it is your life. They brought you to this life in this country with the opportunities that they've grinded for you to be happy. They want you to be happy. And you might need to prove them wrong. Trust me, I had to prove my parents wrong, but it worked out in the end. It's holy shit, you did it. But you need that belief in yourself that whatever you want to do, and it's going against the grain, you got to take that risk. Because what's the alternative? Let's think about the alternative. Let's say you become an accountant. I have a friend who became an accountant. He fucking hates it and he dreads it. He passed his board exams and everything, and now he's a CPA for a big four accounting firm. He hates it. He spent all this time and energy and he hates his parents. He's like, honestly, they ruined my life. They pressured me to do this. I thought they'd be proud of me, but I hate it. They'd rather have me have a stable job than me being happy. And it's I hate this. So it's either do what you want and have their support later, apologize later for it, or resent your parents. And I think that's the number one thing is they force you because they only have one idea of success, and that's traditional paths of success. Doctor, lawyer, engineer, stuff like that. But you can prove them wrong because you can make an income from other side hustles and hobbies. And I understand, guys, Asians, Man, we have tiger parents, helicopter parents, whatever the hell you want to call it, and they're brutal. Asians are fucking ruthless when they're angry. But think about the situation they grew up in. They grew up in this area where education and money was the only way to survive. So when you say you're not going to become a doctor, lawyer, engineer, it breaks their heart because they're saying, damn, you want to be a failure. But you don't realize you can prove them wrong and be like, hey, you might hate me now, but in 5, 10 years, 2, 3 years, whatever it takes, you'll be proud of me because I'm going to make this shit real. And once you have money and you prove that you are able to support yourself, they're going to be like, okay, cool, that's fine. They just want to realize that you can stand on your own 2 feet, and they don't want you to be a dismal failure because they put in so much time and effort into your success. And if that doesn't come to fruition, they're of course bummed out. They're disappointed. So I just realized, guys, it's like, look, find a healthy middle ground. If there's something you truly want to do, I'm not saying go like quit your corporate job, start a side hustle, and just burn the boats. Like, don't do that, right? But it's never too late. It's never too late. If you have a hobby, you want to switch careers, you can totally do it in this day and age. The internet's real. You can go work your 8 to 5 and spend 2 hours every night on YouTube, going online university. Do what you need to do. Pick up a skill set to pursue your endeavors. I mean, that's what my brother is doing. He, instead of working 40 hours, he's working 30 hours. He's doing 12-hour shifts. And the time off, he's drawing. He's drawing, building up a portfolio, he's getting commissions to go find a different job. But that's just the way it is. It's never too late. And he's super happy because the job he has now does provide him security to pursue his hobbies. That's the great thing. The opposite side. I'll be an advocate for our parents. You have the income and security to do what you want. Stability is totally fine. Your parents want you to be stable. They don't want you to have like this hard, brutal life. They want you to be safe. And you have to realize your parents would rather have you be safe than happy. And you have to find that middle ground and be like, okay, I see their point, but you can be happy while pursuing your interests while taking on risks. But guys, I know it's really, really hard. And I know this answer is just so nuanced. There's no black and white thing, but you got to realize and have empathy for their perspective of where they come from. Life was very, very difficult for previous generations. And so we should honor that. But it's also realizing it's your own life and you have to do what's right for you. If you have any questions and you want to do a one-on-one consultation, please email me at bedroomtalksconsult@gmail.com. If you want to see what I'm up to, send me a DM at m.deep20 in the description below. And as always, namaste. I wish you guys the best. Peace.